Alright, next is the occlusion culling. So what is occlusion culling? So it's a system that Unity uses for increasing performance in 3D games. It will hide the 3D objects that are not visible in the user's camera. So what you cannot see will not be rendered, and using this method you will increase the performance of your game. So if you take a look at this image from Unity's docs, you'll see that Unity only renders the objects that are in the view of the player. So anything else is just hidden and won't be rendered. Let's see how we can do this in action. So here I have an example scene, and I downloaded a package, a free package called the Free FPS. I want to be able to use the occlusion culling to hide the game objects and more precisely the walls that are not in the view of my player. Let's see how we can do that. If I exit the play mode, as you can see, the occlusion culling window is under the window and rendering occlusion culling, and here I can click on bake to actually create the occlusion culling structures. It will scan the environment and it will understand where in my environment my camera can actually render things. So if I click bake here, you'll see an error here. It says no renderer that are marked static were found in the scene. Please mark all renderers that will never move as static in the inspector. To use the occlusion culling, I have to mark the 3D objects that won't move as static. So the objects that move are not able to be in the occlusion culling. So I can use my environment like these walls. So I just select these walls. I'll select all of them. And in the inspector, you can see this little static just next to the name of my game object. If I click on the static, it means that these objects are static and they won't move. This way I can use them in the occlusion culling. So I'll go back to the occlusion window and I will hit bake. And as you can see, Unity creates these blue squares and it will save the occlusion data. As you can see here, occlusion data size is right now 128 kilobytes. And right now, if I play the game, if you take a look at my scene at the top, you can see that as I move my player, the walls that are behind me and are not rendered in the camera will disappear. So I don't see anything in my game because it just renders it as soon as the player looks at these objects. But in the back end, it actually hides them and won't render them when they are not needed.